Hi and welcome along to the Forsman. What a day of racing ahead on Saturday with a massive day out of Flemington. It is Derby Day with quality top to tail. Here in New Zealand, we've got Fielding Gold Cup Day out of Awapuni and good racing coming to us from Tauranga with a listed feature there as well. Kicks off a massive weekend of racing. Let's see what's coming up on the form today. Kick off with Andrew Forsman talking the Baker Forsman team for the weekend, including Aegon in the Golden Eagle coming to us out of Sydney. Brendan Poppwell joins us to talk Tauranga form. Devon Sweeney will talk us through the Awapuni card. Craig Williams with a terrific book of rides on Derby Day out of Flemington. Natalie Young will talk to us around their team, including the Got You, the favourite for the VRC Derby. Michael Walker of Racing.com will take us through the form at Flemington from his point of view, and we'll get two bites of the cherry because Ben Ascari from Racing.com will give us his thoughts on the features as well. Getting you up to Cambridge, big weekend for Murray Baker, Andrew Forsman. We've grabbed Andrew. Let's kick off with the big money race for the weekend. Andrew, you've got Aegon in the Golden Eagle. Just tell us about how he's travelled and settled in back over there, and obviously that hideous draw.
Yeah, the travelling side of it's gone really well. Not so much the barrier draw, but he's familiar with Warwick Farm and Bune's setup. He's done a fair bit of travelling now anyway, so no, all that's been straightforward. He only got over there Sunday. He was pretty much ready to go when he left. Just had to have the one gallop over there on Tuesday morning. By all reports, it was good work, and now it's just a matter of ticking him over and looking forward to the race now.
Absolutely. If he can bring back what he was doing in the Hobartville over there last year, he could be a real contender in this race, couldn't he? A bit of a smoky.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the barrier draw was always going to be crucial in a big field for him with his racing pattern. So it is very disappointing to see him drawn out there. It just means he's going to require a lot of luck and have to be giving some good horses a pretty big start.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you do tactically from out there?
I think, look, naturally he does get back and he just is best saved for one run. So I'll talk to Jason later on today and probably leave it up to him. I think he'll know. He would have watched a lot of his races, and then it's just going to come down to what unfolds in front of him, really, and whether he can get a bit of a drag into it with a bit of cover wider, or he goes right back and sort of tries to weave a path closer to the rail, perhaps. And again, that'll depend on how the track's playing and how sort of firm and fast it is. Rosehill can be a pretty tough track to make ground on when it is in that state. So yeah, a lot of it's just going to have to left up to Jason.
Yeah, and one thing about both Aegon and, of course, with the jockey as well, they're both quite happy going through horses. He's a willing horse, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and he is a horse that will take a gap. He's pretty nimble. He can sort of duck and dive through them. So it's just a shame there's going to be potentially 17 other good ones to try and weave between. So yeah, not going to be easy, but we just have to sort of play the cards we're dealt, I suppose, and be positive about it and know that we're going into it with a horse that if things do go his way and he doesn't have too much to do in the run, then he is capable of being in it.
Yeah, when you're running for a figure like this, I guess it kind of is your target race, but could he stay over there and have another one?
No, at this stage, he'll just come straight home. We'll give him a break. Like, while he hasn't been over-raced at all this preparation, he has been up a little while now, and I think he's been through a fair bit with travelling and whatnot. So yeah, we'll turn him straight out on. He'll come home on Sunday, and we'll go from there.
Yep. What's maybe the late summer autumn preparation for him?
Yeah, we haven't even thought that far ahead yet. We'll probably just give him a good bit of time in the paddock and just reassess. Probably into next week, we'll get together and come up with a bit of a plan for him heading forward.
Okay, Andrew, obviously Tauranga, the domestic feature for you there with three runners in the listed race. You've got Frontman, Moroni, Spring Delight. How are they going?
Yeah, all going really well. Obviously, Frontman, we've been waiting. We were going to take him to Trentham last week. We didn't take him because of the track conditions, and now we're, I guess, waiting to see what comes of the weather over the next 24 hours. So it's been a little bit frustrating with him. And probably the other two, it's just hard to know how bad that track's going to be and how they'll really handle it. I guess that's our biggest concern, but all three horses are ready to race and doing well.
Okay, yeah, the work leading into this has been to your satisfaction?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, particularly Spring Delight. I think she's actually, her last few gallops have been very sharp. I don't know whether she wants it as heavy as it may be. But again, it's valuable black type. She's been served by the stallion, and we need to have a go at whatever we can.
Okay, do you know who she went to?
Contributor.
Okay, nice. For her, she's the lowest rated of your team into that. But do you think she can be effective from what is a 53 kilogram minimum alongside your other two?
Yeah, I do. I think it's a pretty wide open race. Obviously, Vern and me's probably got the best form going into it, but he's got to carry and give them all weight on a testing track. That'll tell. And yeah, I think it's a pretty open race.
Okay, and just tell us where Moroni is in terms of his preparation.
Yeah, so he's probably the one we've got a bit of a query over, just because first up he was okay. We felt he just peaked on his runs. Second up he was very poor, and we didn't really know what to make of it. So I guess we sort of avoided. We don't know. We had that bad fall at Te Rapa, and we're a little bit unsure whether there's something in that. So what we're trying to do is basically change the setting for him, I suppose. So right-handed at Tauranga, but again, never really a horse we've wanted to try on very heavy tracks, and I guess he'd be 50-50 to run, and we'll have to make a call as to whether, how long we can afford to wait to find the next suitable race.
Okay, can you just maybe give us a bit of a ranking, or at least a top seed for this race in the weekend?
I can't. I actually don't know how any of them would handle. I don't know. I'm assuming it's going to be a heavy 10 or a heavy 11 potentially. Sounds like there's a lot of rain, and it's not really going to dry a lot. So honestly, on that sort of track condition, I couldn't give you any lead.
Okay, good as gold. Also, you've got Joy Alone on the undercard. She seems to be coming up really nicely. How did you assess that last run?
Yeah, good. She just got caught off the track a little bit, and Jonathan was, he didn't really have much of an option. If he had gone back, she would have run a nice fifth, and he tried to put her in the race, and she just knocked up. And I thought she battled to the line very gamely after having had a pretty tough run. She was just a victim of circumstances, really, and it was a fresh up run she was always going to need and improve off anyway. I think that served its purpose, and she should be spot on ready now for the mile on a testing track.
Yeah, what do you expect of her?
Expect her to run really well. I think she should handle the ground. She is one that we've seen perform well enough on rain-affected ground before, and she's a big, strong mare now. Expect her to go very close.
Okay, you've got a team of 4 really nice horses. Where does Saturday's racing fit into their preparations?
Look, I think it's obviously a lot of them are on the way up. Like Joy Alone, I guess she's a mare that we would like to target the Cups races with coming up. And that's why we avoided the listed race on Saturday and just keep her in her grade for now, and trying to keep her down in the ratings, and hopefully we can get into like a Counties Cup on a lightweight.
Yeah, I see Moroni's in the Copeland still. Is he a chance of being there with a big run on Saturday?
Yeah. He and Frontman would like to keep that option open, particularly if they need to run on Saturday to find out whether it's worth justifying the trip. So again, that's an important reason as to why we would like to run. But again, track conditions make that all a little bit confusing.
Okay, just while we're on the Christchurch scene, who could be your 2,000, 1,000 guineas team down there?
At this stage, Miradable will go for the first day, the boys' race, and Mustang Valley will be there for the fillies race on the last day.
Okay, good. You're happy with them both going into Group 1 assignments?
Yeah, really happy. I think they're horses that just keep improving with racing. Mustang Valley just got, I think the wide barrier draw cost her. She just got a fair way out of her ground the other day, and she sort of had to come out and wide and make a run. And I think she just sort of lost her way a little bit and sort of knuckled down and hit the line well enough late. But I think up to the mile she's looking for now. And with a better draw than what she struck at Matamata, I'm sure she'll be right in it.
We're recording this on Friday morning. There's a vet check taking place around your Melbourne Cup contender, the Chosen One. What's the latest you can tell us?
I spoke to Grace from the vetting about it last night. And then this was Thursday night, and she just said there's a bit of a pulse in his foot. They're not too concerned as he is now, but it's something, I guess, when there's a pulse in the foot, it may suggest that there's something brewing that could get worse. We're pretty confident that's not the case. But again, they're going to come back and re-inspect him, just I guess for their peace of mind on Friday afternoon, and just see where that's at, and hopefully all is good and we can press on.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you sort of take out of that Caulfield Cup run? It seemed to be below where he was tracking for the preparation.
Yeah, it was. We were really happy with where he was at. I felt that he probably just Damien rode him a touch aggressively after being a bit slow away. He tried to punch in to get him one off, and then he sort of started to really over race. And I think he, spent his pennies then really just over racing quite badly. For the first probably 900 meters of the race. And by the time he relaxed and came back to him, he had just done too much work. And then he sort of had to make his run on a track that he probably wasn't overly comfortable in, coupled with the fact that he had over raced early in the race. I think it was all just a bit too much for him. And I think it was very disappointing. We thought he would have run better, but I think it's a forgive at the same time.
Okay, what can we expect from him on Tuesday?
Hopefully he gets a good draw. That's all I'm worried about now.
Yeah.
Obviously we get him to the race and gets a good draw, and if we get a good track, I'm sure he'll run very well.
Yeah, can he improve on last year's fourth?
I think he can. Yep, definitely. I don't think it's going to be any stronger field. Certainly there's a few internationals that come into the mix and incentivise if he can run the 2 mile, which is something he hasn't been tested at before, then again, he'll be very hard to beat. He's well placed. But outside of that, I think we're a great chance.
Okay, really appreciate you giving us the time, Andrew. Go well for the weekend. Fingers crossed that it's all green lights ahead for Tuesday and the chosen one can do us proud the Melbourne Cup Tour.
No worries. Thank you.
Heading you out to rural Waikato where Brendan Poppwell is standing by at home. BP Tauranga tomorrow, and of course there is a listed feature on the card as well, the Old Karaka Classic, because this used to be a Counties Racing Club meeting. How have you assessed that race?
Yeah, look, I think it's a race where track conditions are going to play a serious part too. We've seen some rain, sort of floating around, the region, and that could be what really brings this race down to where we want to see which way we want to go. Is the rain going to be there through Friday night and into Saturday, or so that's the tricky part, trying to assess a day out from the race meeting. I think Frontman's a horse that I still want to be with, even though he was beaten on that wet track last time to the races. He ran third in the Matamata Cup. That looks to be the best reference, because you've got the winner of the race in Vernon Mee, who was very good in the Matamata Cup, and Crystallize, who was finishing into second position. So that's the sort of form reference I want to use. I don't want to be dropping Frontman just yet, but at the same time, I'm not as keen on him as I was, say, leading into the Matamata Cup when I made him my best bet on that program. I think horses like Maceto become interesting horses in this race. Of course, Group 1 placed in the Tarzino 2 starts ago. The addition of Opie Boston taking the ride on this runner, and was beaten in the Livermore, but he never fired in the Livermore, did he? And he comes back to 1,600 metres. And then a horse like Sweet Clementine, who's really put it together in a very good win last time out, but has to come back in distance for Saturday's race to the 1,600 metres. Overall, a good even race. I think a very competitive betting race. Frontman just, but a couple of other chances there, I think, that can really make this race a good race to take part in terms of having a punt and also watching.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously that 53 minimum a real asset for that horse as well. BP on a track that's now getting a little bit more use than we'd been expecting with Tauranga as well. Have you found us the best for the day?
Look, I've gone for race number 3, the open handicap over 1,200 metres. I keep coming back to Shoshone. I think this is a horse that will appreciate track conditions if they sit between, dead to heavy, basically. With her, she's a real adaptable mare. And I thought the way that she ran 2 starts ago in the heavy track condition, where she was too good for her rivals on that occasion. Erin Latham was aboard that day. She rides again. She's riding well. She gets the weight relief down to 52 kilograms. Yes, beaten last time out, but it was in behind Tavi Mac. There's no Tavi Macs here in this race on the weekend. And if she gets conditions to suit, which looks very likely with that weight relief, I thought she was a nice bet.
Okay, anything at a nicer price?
Look, I'm going to go to race number 1. This is a little left field. I'm going to the Turn Me Loose filly at the bottom of the book train by Rudy Lefting by the name of Stars and Cream. Now, this horse has had 2 jump-out victories, one of them out of Pookie on the 27th of September before lockdown, and won on that occasion, and also won at the Ellerslie jump outs over 900 metres. So she does come in with very good recent jump out form. She's hovering around that $13 or $14 quote. Don't mind finding out if the horse has got something to offer at such a price. And so far, we've seen those jump out form lines come through on the recent race meeting at a Te Araha. So happy to keep following that and around that $14 quote.
Before we let you go, I know you'd have just flipped through a couple of the pages of the Australian form guide for the weekend. Anything you've spotted for the form viewers?
I'm thunderstruck. The price seems to be attractive with where things are sitting there, doesn't it? I mean, it does look to be a very good price around that runner. I really hope Emeralina from a Kiwi point of view as well. I mean, we've got James McDonald aboard the horse who's willing to stay with the runner. Look, you're getting $13s and $4 with a reasonable draw. Flemington looks to be suitable for her. She looks nice on the each way, doesn't she? And I think Tutukaka can run a huge race in the Derby for Tony Pike and James McDonald. I mean, they're our big sort of main Kiwi interest, along with Sort of State and Karma Lass, of course. But yeah, if I was wanting to nail one down, I'd say I'm thunderstruck would be my bet out of Australia.
Yeah, really looking forward to Sydney for the weekend, but really looking forward to Tauranga as well, and you'll be taking us through the action on trackside. Thanks for your time, Pete.
No worries, Aidan.
Okay, chance for us to head to the CD now, and Devon Sweeney will take us through the Awapuni meeting on trackside. And Bevan, it is Rico Fielding Gold Cup Day. Just obviously, this is a key lead up into sometimes New Zealand Cup or sometimes into the counties and Manawatu Cups, etc. How does this field stack up?
It's middle of the road for mine, Aidan, in my honest opinion. Got a very talented horse, clearly, in House of Cartier, who was a very short price favourite. And you'd have to think if she does a similar performance to what she did at Hastings, then she's going to justify the short price quote. Outside of that, there are a couple of emerging decent stars here. I think Bonnie Ezra is a sort of horse I can see running in a Wellington Cup. Penelope Cruz has been set for the New Zealand Cup, I understand. So she's down on the minimum. So they're two horses that are emerging. Prince Leo, hit and miss, but she can really win a staying race nicely. But at this stage, they're not in the league of House of Cartier. Sunate, we know he's got ability, but every time you go through this field, Aidan, I think form-wise, you'd have to come back to the two House of Cartier, who was a winner fresh up over the 1,600 metres at Awapuni. And gee, it was some running behind Savion Blanc. Unlucky not to finish closer, and could have definitely run in the money from a beautiful gate. She'll get back. That might be a little bit of a sticky number for her, but I don't often say this, but she looks an outstanding bet in the feature on the program, House of Cartier for Peter Dillon, whose team is going really well.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, comes out of a Group 1 Livermore Classic. What about conditions for her? Track conditions, how do they suit?
I think they'll be fine. Look, she does like a bit of cut out of the ground. I think she definitely will get that. It's interesting around the city at the moment. It seems to be really isolated rain. We see the meeting from New Plymouth transferred down to Harwood, where it's dead 6. Couldn't run at New Plymouth today. So must be a little bit intermittent around the district, because I know it's pouring in Wanganui, and Hara is sort of right in the middle of those two areas. So the track's going at dead 6 there. I know the track has been improving for a period of time there, speaking to Mike Bresland and a couple of other local trainers. So it shouldn't be too bad. There are some isolated showers around. Hey, we're in that sort of turmoil of spring, aren't we, where the weather is very changeable. But I think she'll be fine. She handles all ground really. I think sort of in that slow, just beginning of slow is her best conditions. But look, I don't think it'll matter, to be fair with you. She'll handle all sorts of ground, and she just looks a standout for me in the Fielding Gold Cup.
Okay, the earlier feature is the Red Craze Bowl, and we see Tabby Mack in this field, obviously with the big weight and with Connections opting to claim. How have you assessed this race?
Well, it's a little bit like the Rico Fielding Gold Cup for me, Aidan. He's a little horse, but he can carry weight, as he's shown prior. Look, he's coming back from weight for age into an open handicap. So, yes, he does get the 64, but the weight comes off with Killam being aboard. So that's a big assist to him. He's in a weaker field than he probably faced up at Rotorua the other day. I can't see any sprinter in this race that really does have his ability. Guilada, a nice horse, but 1400 metres against him with only 6 kilos. I don't think that's going to make a big difference. Tavi's caught a tough horse, but geez, it's hard to play against him, even with the 61 kilos and what he did at Rotorua. Beat a really nice field after getting back and looping them, carrying 59 kilos, albeit at weight for age. He wasn't giving weight away to those horses. But Sidham said, Aidan, the two features on the program, I think they're 220 and maybe a little bit shorter than that, the two favourites, but hard to get away from them, really is. He's a great horse, Tavi Mac, and I can see him carrying the weight and winning again.
Yeah, and absolutely. And from here, I think they're looking at the Captain Cook Stakes. He'd measure up okay in that too, wouldn't he?
Oh, of course, absolutely. Look, I don't think there's any doubt he'll run 1,600 metres with his manners. He's very trackable, isn't he? He went back last start. He's raced on speed when required just to get a run into him. So, look, he relaxes beautifully in the run. He's got a lot better turn of foot than maybe a lot of people give him credit for as well. So, big open track mile. Look, it can run a little bit, like, I know it doesn't run further, but it does just seem a little bit further for those horses, being a big open track mile. But I don't think there's any worries about that. He's by Tavistock, so he should get 1,600 metres on his ear. And that might just be his pet distance going forward. Aidan, weight for age, set weights and penalties is probably still okay for him not being a Group 1 winner. I think he's riding the mile up to his neck. Maybe Thorndon even might be a race that's on the radar for Alan Sherritt.
Yeah, absolutely. What about for the remainder of the program? Have you got a best outside those two races, Ben?
There's some really good betting fields here, Adam, going through. I'm really, really looking forward to the meeting, but I have found one in a nice race, to be fair. Race 2, there's a horse here called Raffle for Mike Breslin. It's owned by Christopher Grace and Mike himself. It's out of Lottery, who's produced some really nice horses. Every time I go back and review this horse's debut win at Awapuni, I think it was one of the wins of the season, got back last, shuffled back after jumping away nicely and just picked them up and dropped them, beating home Pappenhuisen, who's not the worst type of horse. Been put aside post that. Now, fresh up at Taupo, but the horse has taken quite a while to come to true fitness, so it was a really big improver's run. Taupo on the inside was really off that day because he went down in there. Was only beaten 2 lengths behind Sophisticato. It's got a brilliant draw tomorrow. It's not the worst field when you look through it. You've got horses like Erna. Queen of Spades is a really nice horse. Silent Lane was amazing for Woodville the other day against the pattern. And there's some other nice horses in there. Hooks, who's been going well at Hastings. But this is a horse I really expect to whip through 2 or 3 grades and end up in open company pretty quickly. So price around it is $7. So I'm suggesting that's a really nice play tomorrow. There'll be sharp improvement, 1,300 metres from the 12-ball suit, but it'll get up over much further ground than that. Really liking Raffle tomorrow is a decent bet for you at $7.
Okay, anything else on the card, Bevan, or are we just going to stick to that?
Well, look, I'm going to say Tavi Mac's my bet of the program. That's for sure. I think he's right in that race. Up to his neck, and I just don't see a better sprinter in that particular race. In race number 4, there's a horse called Sugar Sweet, who comes out of the Shokalele race at Hastings. Town Cry's in there as well, and I do really rate that horse going forward up over a further trip. And Rue Claire, so this is a really good race. Great form race going forward. They've all got really good ability. Rue Claire's drawn 16, Sugar Sweet's drawn 20. So that really puts a niggle, but they're both good horses. 6, 7, and 16. I think you can back them all and make a profit because I see the winner coming out of those 3 in that particular race. But it's a real watch race, race number 4. A-Rod, you put your My Sky across it and keep a close eye on that. And look, it carries on through the program. You've got a horse called Nod of the Head. Was super at Hastings, fresh up, powered up, things went wrong. And then went to Rotorua and was really good beating AOT Lad. He's really strongly developing this particular horse as well into a quality animal who's going to be in some really good, nice races. So I think that undercards where you're going to make your money because I think the shorts are the way to go in the 2 features, Adam. But it's certainly a very good program.
Okay, let's get you to Melbourne ahead of a massive Derby day and a jockey who's going to be right in the thick of things is Craig Williams. Thanks for joining us, Craig. And these are one of the big days for anyone involved in the sport. What about for you? How important?
Yeah, it's basically this is our grand final. Whether you follow AFL, whether you follow rugby, or it's cricket, this is this is the finals, and we've got a week of them at Flemington. Well, highlighted through the Spring Carnival by the 4 major days at Flemington at headquarters. So really, Derby Day is always the day that kicks off, and they are all group and listed races. So it's a really exciting day.
Absolutely. Let's start with the Group 1s, Craig. You've got Tefani for Mike Moroney in the Empire Rose Stakes. She's obviously high class and suited by conditions here. How are you rating her chances?
Well, you don't disappoint me. You go straight for the Kiwis, don't you? So well done. She's really well placed for this race. Mike Moroney has done such a great job as her trainer in preparing her. And I love the way that he spaces her races. And even last time, she was badly handicapped because she's won 3 Group 1 races, 2 of them being weight for age. So she's badly handicapped in a handicap race. And because there was no higher rated horse then, we could have actually carried 57 rather than 58. So she gave the winner 6 kilos that day. We also were bottled up on the inside. And usually she's been, since I've ridden her, that she's been a horse that has a really good lengthy acceleration. But she showed that she had a great pickup and acceleration with a good speed about her when she gained the split inside the 300 metres last time. And also to note that physically, she actually looked a lot bigger and bulkier than what she was with her first 2 runs at the start of the preparation. So Mike's done a great job with her. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't get on her back until race day, and I'm looking forward to being on her back. And she, on her form, in a weight for age race against mares, then they all carry the same weight as her on her highest rating. And she's doing a nice low barrier draw. She's very effective on all surfaces. She's the horse they have to beat.
You team up with the Simon Wildtry and Gun Deck in the Classic. How are you rating the chances there?
Well, 2 starts ago, he won his maiden winning the Derby trial at Flemington. And his most recent start, he was quite plain, actually. So I was very disappointed with him. Simon was disappointed with him. They said he'd come through the run really well. But then he started to change his training around. And I know that they had the option of tinkering or the option of putting some headgear on him. And they've opted with leaving the winkers on him, on the cheek pieces. And obviously they've pleased him at home. So if we can get him to bounce back and find that winning form again, then definitely he does feel like a horse that is drawn a nice favourable draw to get every chance to stay the trip. We just need to be fast enough on the day against them.
Yeah. Who's the horse to beat, do you think?
The favourite's the horse to beat.
Okay, let's move you on to the Coolmore.
Another Kiwi trainer.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for that, Craig. Let's move you on to that Coolmore Stud Stake. Boy, this is a field of real quality. And you team up with the Waterhouse Bot Train in the Congo here. It's never an easy race to win for starters, but obviously he's high class. Yes,
he's only he's lightly raced. He's never been out of the top 2 placings in his career. He's a warrior. He's a fighter. And I guess if you're going to be in the trenches, that's and you're going to make your last stance, that's who you want to be with, is a horse like in the Congo. I've sat on him in 2 pieces of work. We trialled him down the straight and also galloped him on Tuesday morning. You can watch all those, your viewers can watch them on my website and have a view the Craig cam and have a look at the perspective I've had. But he really did come on with the blinkers on and his gallop, his second look down the straight. I was impressed with his work, and especially after the line, he really did pick up. So you guys will be able to see that if you take a viewing. But he did come down his first time. He didn't feel like the horse of his form. But since then, he's really come on. He looks fantastic. He's a fighter. And this is the first time he'll find himself down the straight under race day conditions. He does have the blinkers on for the first time. And I'm going out there to be very bullish on him. And he's the horse they're going to let to run down.
Okay. You sounds like you're pretty confident he can be winning this one.
Absolutely. He wouldn't be in the race if that he wasn't. But he is a fighter, and he's going to take a lot of beating because he doesn't know how to take a backward step.
Okay, you better give us your website address, Craig.
It's craigwilliamsjockey.com.au.
Radio. We'll be logging them straight after the interview for sure. And onto the Cantala with your ride here, Mr. Brightside, a horse who began his career here in New Zealand with Ralph Manning. Very unlucky on debut under Opie Boston, I think. And since then, wow, everything has gone to plan in Australia, hasn't it?
Oh, it is. Certainly has. Obviously, the scout that they had in New Zealand was lucky enough to identify a horse like this, recommend it to Lindsay Park. And the people who've been very lucky out of this is the owners. He's now been to Australia. He's had 7 runs, 6 of them have been winners, and I was lucky enough to get on him for those 6 rides. And even the way that he's still basically in his first preparation, it's amazing. When I first started riding him, he had a small size girth around on him, and now he's graduated to a medium because through his preparation, he's actually filled out, got bulkier. He's confident. He knows how to be a winner. And even the way that I rode him last time in the listed Seymour Cup at Ballarat, I rode him with content. I could do whatever I wanted, and it's very rare for a jockey to be in a feature race, to be able to ride a horse with that much confidence. And he just absolutely annihilated his field. So the stable said that he's come on. I've only ever been on his back for 6 times, and but they said his training's, they're really happy with him. He's got more confidence from the other day. He's drawn a nice favourable barrier draw. He's also adapted to all ground conditions, so he's effective on soft and New Zealand soft. So there's 4 for you guys today. New Zealand soft is even a lot softer than the tracks that we have here in Australia. And he's also been very effective on a good fall. So we've had a lot of rain the last 48 hours. And it'll be interesting to see once I walk the track. And also there is rain predicted through the day. It's going to be cold, but if the rain does come through the day, it will have an effect on Flemington. But more than likely, I'd expect the worst would get is a 5 because Liam O'Keefe and his staff at Flemington have prepared the track with being in mind that there was rain predicted. So Mr. Brightside it would not be disadvantaged by any track surface and also dropping another 2 kilos. Mind you, it is a Group 1 race. It is the Cantal. It's our biggest Group 1, hardest Group 1 that we have through our spring carnival. But I'm going to this race really confident that, again, he's the horse they all have to beat on his Australian form.
Okay, because it is undoubtedly a step up from what he's been doing, but you're thinking that he's got that improvement to be really measuring up in this?
I felt he could have won the Toorak, but because of his rating was only 84, if he didn't quite get it right and didn't get the result, the handicapper would have had a really big go at him. And horses recently that has proven if trainers and owners are running their horses outside their rating, the handicapper will give them their 16 to 18 points, which is 4 wins. And you can see by Mr. Brightside how he's been able to get that 6-win picket fence beside his name because he's been extremely well placed.
Yeah.
They've placed him through his rating and through those races. So he's now warrants to come into this race. He's actually 6 points out, but he deserves to, or 5 points out. He deserves to be in this race. And like I said, he would have been winning the Toorak last time, in my opinion. And since the stable said he hasn't gone backwards, then again, he's the horse they have to beat with 52 kilos on his back.
Okay, Craig, we're just going to rip through your other rides. You kick off in the Carbine Club Stakes with Tester Rock. How are you rating this one?
She'll have to improve. I had the first ride on her last time. She had the blinkers on. Her run was much better than what her margin and placing looks like. And I'll be just riding her quiet and coming on with 1 run. But I expect in a weak Carbine that she'll make her presence felt. But again, she's still probably stepping up against the boys rather than against the girls last time.
Okay, into the Wakeful, and you team up with Barbara here.
Barbara is flying, and she's been really well managed by her trainer, Jerome Hunter. This is the stepping stone towards the Wakeful Stakes. She wasn't going to go to last start. She was only going to go to the 10 furlong race at Caulfield, the Ethereal Stakes. There's no one for you. But they decided that the 1,000 guineas dropped away. They were backed up by their judgment. She ran 3rd in the Group 1 race. She's now goes back to 2,000 metres, was what she felt like she wanted last time, and she's going to really be one of the main chances with a view to be running in Thursday's feature race, the Kennedy Oaks.
How competitive can she be in an Oaks, do you think?
She's bred to be an Oaks horse, and that was always the plan from the outset. And it was just that she's going so well, and we felt that the opposition was being decimated by horses not going towards 1,000 guineas because of the 2 states having a war between trying to get the best horses. And again, so she wasn't ready to go back to that class back to the 1,600 metres, and she still ran 3rd. So I'm really looking forward to her, and she'll answer more questions for us on Saturday. She'll answer more questions for us today, and then we'll give us great indication for Thursday. All going well, and she pulls up well.
Okay, sounds good. Race 4, the Linlithgow, and you team up here with Kimmel Passer.
He's won this race the last 2 years. I rode him last year into succession. He's dropping half a kilo, which probably means that the race might be a bit stronger. But nevertheless, I love this horse down the straight. Again, he's third up, same preparation as last time, and looking forward to riding him, and he'll take a lot of beating. The only opposition he's got is the New Zealand bred and purchased Peter Moody's horse, Oxley Road, who's also goes around in Stephen Gray's colours. So there's another Kiwi for you.
You're doing well, Craig. You're doing really well. Kicking you back. Never talk in the Furphy sprint towards the end of the card. What are your thoughts on this one?
Probably is the joke ride for a horse for me, who I don't I never stop talking. So, but her run was the biggest run of the day. Ran the fastest 200 metres of the meeting. She's very effective on soft ground. So if the track gets deteriorated, it will only enhance her chances. And I had my first ride on the other day. When she came out of the gates, I think she made contact with the starters stalls, and she found herself a lot further back. But hopefully she'll be a bit closer in the running. And the way she finished off the other day against looks like the same calibre of mares, she'll definitely be one of the main chances.
Okay, who's the pick of your rides, do you think?
Mr. Brightside, Tafane would be clearly my two best rides in Camel Passing.
Okay, yeah, and if we can just have a chance to look ahead to Tuesday, you team up with Spanish Mission in the Melbourne Cup. What have you made of what you've seen of this horse? And you've been out and galloped him as well, I'm thinking. I'm
meant to be on his back tomorrow on Sunday, so I'm waiting to hear which will be the first time I'll be aboard him. But we really like his form, and he's got that strong Stradivarius form, which has been the strongest staying form in Europe for the last 3 seasons. But he's also got the true Shan form, which would be the superior. He'll be the best stayer in Europe this year. So he's got that type of form, and so I'm really looking forward to him. Our concern was that he had 57, but when we had a look at the way that this race was shaping, probably due to COVID restrictions, probably due to the new criteria set up by Racing Victoria for the implementation of what they want as the safest Melbourne Cup to be ran, and so it looked like that the race had really dropped away. So we're really looking forward to partnering for Team Valor, Spanish Mission, for Andrew Balding, an English trainer, in our greatest race, the Melbourne Cup.
Absolutely. And when you talk about some of that form from Europe, it's obviously absolutely top notch. Are you happy enough that he's got enough sort of miles under his belt leading into a Melbourne Cup like this?
I'm not too big on the miles and all that, but I know one thing: they've got the best opportunity to train and use races to get horses fit for the Melbourne Cup. And my experience has been with riding a lot of internationals that when they come to Australia, they're not coming to Australia to get them fit. They're already fit, and all they're doing is ticking them over. So they just have so many more options to get horses qualified and put races and race miles in their leagues over in Europe, where in Australia we call middle distance. We call middle distance 1,600 metres. Middle distance to them is 2,400 metres. So the same as Japan. So we always look towards the Melbourne Cup and first of all look towards European stayers, because they have the best opportunity, not only through their breeding, but especially through the race options and even the tracks that they get to work on to prepare their horses for staying events. We have the best sprinters to milers, but they clearly have the best opportunity to breed and develop the best stayers.
Absolutely. We heard on Thursday night they had a bit of swelling to a leg. How much of a concern is that?
Well, I'm not too sure. I'm not a veterinarian, but Tony Noonan, who's taking care of the horse, is a good friend of the Baldings, and I've spoken to him, and he said they classified him as half out of 5 lane, which is I don't even want that, but because of the new testing that they're going to do, he'll sit through the testing, and later today, obviously, we'll get the results, and hopefully it's all clear. And if not, then hopefully my manager's working really hard to get me a last minute ride in our greatest race come Tuesday in the Melbourne Cup.
Yeah, I'm sure if it is an alternate ride, might have a New Zealand connection, and we'll be all good with you, Craig.
Guys, product placement's great, and really appreciate you guys always tuning in. And again, like I said, I'm sure you'll be cheering hard for Mr. Brightside.
And talking Melbourne Cup, don't forget about the TAB Trackside preview show at 10 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Emily Bosson, Luke Radich, myself, and Thad Taylor from the Bookies Desk will take you through the thoughts on all 24 runners for this year's Cup out of Finland. Heading off to Victoria now, and it's a massive day of racing, and it's a big day for Busselton Racing as well. Trent Busselton and Natalie Young have got a really strong team in, but Natalie joins us now. Natalie, the Derby undoubtedly the focus, and you couldn't have been much happier, I guess, with the lead-up runs from both Forgot You and Commander Harry. How have they come through the run?
Yeah, they've come through super, really. They're on that week back up. We've had them out to the beach. Wednesday, Forgot You just went out on the course proper and just stretched his legs. He didn't really do a hell of a lot. They're both eating up really well, and Commander Harry just stretched his legs a little bit yesterday, and they just went for a trot this morning. We kind of had like 100k winds here today. We're in the middle of a bit of a storm, so we've got no power. So they were pretty fresh and up and about this morning.
Okay, Forgot You, the run. Geez, he just keeps on coming, doesn't he? He's got that real staying attribute about him.
Yeah, he does. Obviously being a Savabeel, he should see out the trip. We've won the VRC Derby before with Sangster, who's a Savabeel. The way he's I don't think he's ever going to be a horse that's going to win by lengths. He sort of knows where that winning post is, and he just gets his nose in front. He did give us a bit of a heart attack the other day in the bars, but Linda was aware that he hits that little bit of a flat spot, and I think he always does at the Valley because it's got that camber and it's quite a never-ending corner. And she just decided to sort of kick off and get going and make him work a little bit. But he showed a brilliant turn of foot once he got balanced up. And, yeah, hopefully he's shown that again on that really nice long Flemington straight.
Yeah, it is a step up in distance again. How will your pair sort of handle that extra distance?
I don't think it'll worry him. Like, he really run through the line at the Valley over 2,000. He's coming into a 6th run this preparation. The last couple of derbies with Tabago and Sangster and Sully run second. They all were in their 6th run. So he's primed in it. He's got that good mileage in his legs prior. So there'll sort of be really no excuses. He should get a lovely run in transit from that barrier 8. Hopefully something's likely to go forward, and there should be a genuine tempo. And he should just get a nice cuddle up in the middle and be peeling out the top of the straight. And hopefully he's getting an uninterrupted run.
Yeah, absolutely. What about Commander Harry? How are you rating his chances?
Well, look, he's round second to High Tutsu, who ended up, running 5th in the Guineas, and I think he's at about $7. I think he's at $20, which he probably deserves, I think, to be around sort of the 10, 12, 15 mark. He's, realistically, we thought it'd sort of be like that 6 months away type of reliable man, but look, he's come through it really well. You get on him through the week and he tucks his head and he pulls like anything. He feels like he's a 600-kilo horse when you're on him, but he's probably weighs about 450. So he's just got a really great attitude. And I just think he could be a little bit of a smoker, but he's got that. He comes into barrier 12 with emergencies not accepting, and he's going to be a little bit awkward from that gate before that first corner. But I think Linda will just end up, getting cover, going back to the rail and trying to switch him off in those early stages of the race.
Yeah, exactly. Outside that, plenty of other runners in feature races. Sierra Sue obviously picking up that Group 1 earlier on, gets another chance in the Empire Rose Stakes. How's she?
She's really good. Look, obviously it was well below par last out. She pulled up with that heart fibrillation. Her bloods have been perfect. She's come through that run really well. I thought on Tuesday, it was sort of the first gallop since that run where I've kind of pulled up and gone, wow, I had my feet in her mouth for the good 800 meters. I was really impressed. So I was like, yes, she's back. So I think she's, I think she's well over the odds. I think she's definitely worth putting in the first 4 anyway. She's got Tofane that she's got to beat, but she's beaten her once before in one of the races. Yeah. So, it's obviously a good field, but if she can bounce back, I think she'll be right on her A game.
Okay, the last time we spoke about Mirage Dancer, and that he might be coming towards the end. He gets his chance in the Hotham. I know he's one of the stable favourites. It would be a pretty cool type of win if he was able to achieve one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We were sort of thinking we were sort of going to go to the Queen Elizabeth next week on Stakes Day, and then with this race tomorrow, there's not too many in it, and he actually pulled up with a bit of mucus after the Geelong Cup, so he actually had a genuine excuse. So we treated him for that 4 days after that and scoped him on Tuesday, and he scoped clear. So he's been back bouncing around and done a nice piece of work through the week and went to the beach yesterday and kept Forgot You company. So, I think he's finally got a nice gait too. So, he's got Froggy on him. He gets on with him well, and he sort of gets him out of the gates nicely. So it'd be nice for him to sort of just sit him behind the speed and just have him just cruising along. And I think it would be great if he could actually, deliver, because if they run 1 or 2 on Saturday, there's actually a $200,000 bonus if they go into the Queen Elizabeth. So that's obviously the plan. And then he's obviously going into quarantine, early November the 12th, I think he is. So, but he's very well. He's happy and he's scoped clean. So I think we'll see a lot better performance from him on Saturday.
Okay, I like that. And in the Wakeful as well, you've got Audrey Girl. I'm picking this as basically a semi-final for the Oaks. But what about for Saturday? What are you expecting of her?
Well, I don't think she's done a lot wrong her last couple of starts. She was second behind Rhino, and there was really only Bob of the Heads, against the Colts. So I was kind of kicking myself. I wish we'd put her in the 1,000 Guineas, because Yearning ended up coming back from last, pretty similar to how she raced in that 3-year-old benchmark 70. It's obviously a bit of a step up to the Group 2, but since we've been riding her that little bit colder, she's really been hitting the line, and she did a really good gallop on Tuesday. And 2 days before, we always just give her that little sort of 400-metre sprint up, and it just keeps her on her toes. But she's a beautiful-looking fast-neck rock filly that deserves a bit of black type, because she's definitely looks the part. She's holding her condition perfectly this campaign, and there's plenty of speed in that race. So I think she'll get a really nice runner behind them, and hopefully be finishing off wide and saluting. So she's a nice each way chance.
All going well, you will go ahead to Thursday's Oaks. Yeah,
definitely. If she runs top 3 or top 4, and she's got a few excuses. If she gets a bit held up or something, we'll definitely push forward. She eats everything, and I think she can back up easy, no problem. And look, there are only 3 once. Got to try and go for those Group 1s.
Yeah, absolutely. We probably won't talk to you again, but I know you got a big team in on Tuesday. Who's the pick of those runners?
Tuesday, we've actually got Rich Hips lining up. She's had a sort of a good month between runs, and she actually won that race last year. On Cup Day. I think her work's been really good. She's actually worked with Sue on Tuesday and worked very well. So I think she'll probably be a little bit over the odds too, because her form doesn't suggest that she's been that great. But I think she's back flying. So she's a nice one. And we've got Mr. Tipper in the Greys race. He'll go a nice race. And so there's not really much else we've got there. Mainly just those 2.
Okay, and you've ruled out Forgot You for the Cup, haven't you?
Yeah, we have. We sort of hummed and hard a bit on Tuesday, sending him over to Werribee. We're trying to get them to come out here to X-ray, just so we didn't have to tax them a little bit. Yeah. But then on Wednesday, we ended up sending him over there because we just figured we wouldn't have to sedate him because it's too close to racing. I don't really like sedating them too close out. And if he went Tuesday, would have had to be sedated. So we did that, and it was only really a 4-hour exercise, and he come back and ate up this afternoon and that, so I didn't worry him too much. So if he's obviously got to really win the Derby to go into it. But at the moment, I think he's 29th on order. So if he ran a placing, he actually might sneak in anyway. But he'd have to run top 3 to really warrant backing up and going into it.
Okay, so the door is still open, basically.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Look, it is probably the year that you can do that, throw the 3-year-old in. You haven't got those really big, strong, European horses, and they're obviously incentivized. He's going to be very hard to beat. I think he's going to be very hard to beat. He's a serious horse. But still would be nice to have a runner in there with 49 kilos and just the hype of the day with all the owners back. But we need to get through Saturday first.
Excellent. I really appreciate you giving us the time again, Natalie, and best of luck for Saturday. Let's hope you can pick off a Derby at Flemington. I know you guys have got a bit of a Derby history, so it'd be great to have another one.
No, it sure would. Derby Eve's always exciting. I haven't battered myself. I've got my daughter's birthday tonight because her birthday falls on Cup Day, and I'm like, I'm going to be at the Cup, so I have to have the party tonight. So it's a good distraction, but they're all going to be going in tomorrow in ship-shop shape, so let's hope we can get something up.
Getting you off to Melbourne, of course, racing.com have utilised the form analyst of Michael Walker. Of course, we know him well as a jockey back here in New Zealand and obviously world class in Melbourne as well. And you were great for us last time, Mickey, so we've got you again. Kia ora to you. How's the form going for Derby Day?
Kia ora, Kaz. Yeah, it's pretty good. Been doing a lot of different TV work for different betting companies and so forth. So I hope I'm all over it.
You're pretty good last time, backed by popular demand, I think, as well. And one horse we want to touch on later on is that Tralee Rose, which you did tip to us. Obviously came up and won a Geelong Cup as well. But let's talk Derby first and foremost. Obviously, a lot of the form out of the bars last week. How are you assessing the 3-year-olds?
Yeah, the Colts and Geldings this year, because they're very, very even. There's for the staying horses, there's nothing that really stands out apart from Forgot You. But when he won the other day at Moonee Valley, it was a race that rated very poorly. Apart from him, there wasn't really much in it. It wasn't a good field. And, you look at it, he beat the outsider, which was a stablemate home, and the other horses behind him that ran third, obviously back to last, aren't much good. But obviously there's a lot more horses that get thrown into the mix this time. Gunstock, Kiwi bred, Stay All Day. He's a horse that I really, really like, and I don't mind him drawn out where he is because he doesn't have to rush him into a spot because he's, these young horses, Aidan, that haven't really raced as 2-year-olds, they're still learning their craft. So I think with him to be able to get into his rhythm, find his rhythm and not rush to do it is really going to suit this horse. And he's got a really, really good turn of foot. He's got a massive stride on him. So in my mind, I think even from the draw, he's the one to beat. Forgot You. It's a race that there's not a lot of tempo, a lot of speed in the race. So I think he's going to be able to, over the Derby trip, posse up sort of midfield instead of being out the back. And if he can do that, it's going to give him a great chance as well. And once again, another Kiwi bred. And as you know, Aidan, the Kiwi breds, when it comes to staying races, always to the fore. Tutukaka, the horse I really, really like from New Zealand. He was good the other day in the Geelong Classic. And they sort of rode him a little bit different. They rode him quieter. And it actually worked out, Carls, because they went at breakneck speed. The favourite actually went out and led by, I think it was 6 or 7 lengths and really ran them along. So it gave him a chance to get over the top. So he's obviously in the mix as well. And, I know myself, Tony Pike, I've won a Derby from through your, sort of tutorage. But no, I won that for him. So when it comes to Derbies, he knows how to win them. I think I ran a second as well, beaten by his stablemate when Vinnie Colgan beat me. And the horse I'm going to throw from left field is High Totsu. Same ownership, Aussie Kerr and Bray Sokolsky with Forgot You, same ownership. Because the horse is really lightly raced, but he's as good as Forgot You, and even the ownership group say that. He's a long time between runs, and I think he steps from 1,500 to obviously the Derby trip. But here in Melbourne or here in Australia and throughout the world, horses from 2,000 up, even between with breaks, Kieran Martin, David Eustace are the people you want to have training your horse. So, because it's going to be a hard Derby, but they're 4 horses that, stand out to me.
Perfect. Really liking that. Let's move you back a race into that Empire Rose Stakes and the mares in what has become a really good race as well. And I feel full of depth, Michael. Who are you liking?
In my mind, they don't beat Mystic Jenny. She's, she's already won an All-Star Mile. She's a Group 1 horse, but she didn't come up last prep, and they had a few issues with feet and so forth. But you look at her runs this time back, she's been drawn out in the car park on races where they haven't gone fast up front, and then she's just really unleashed with a good turn of foot. She's finally drawn a barrier. She doesn't have to get back. She's proven that she can go forward. She takes up a spot in the first 5. I don't think they beat her. My heart's obviously with Sierra Sue as a horse that I hold close to my heart. I always said she was a Group 1 horse, and there was a few people here said that I was dreaming. So when she did do it, obviously I was the first person to say, I told you so. And the other day, put a line through a run. Track was too hard. And I hope that she does win it for Casey Locke and her brother back in New Zealand, who obviously been gifted a percentage of her prizes, obviously with being in the ownership now. So I throw out my luck to them, friends back home. And if the rain comes, Colette, as you know, she's a heavy track horse. Honestly, because I went for this morning to get a best bets here. There's power outages all through Melbourne. There's crashes everywhere. I went out my drive and there's my big tree at the front on the road. The next door neighbours, they got two. So it's really stormy today, but it's supposed to clear up and be okay tomorrow. So if it gets too heavy, Colette's in the mix. But for me, I don't see how they can beat Mystic Journey.
Okay, like that as well. What about the Coolmore? Obviously, it's been a really good stallion-making race. You've got that shoot to add into the mix. No bends for the 3-year-olds. What we're liking in the Coolmore?
I like Extreme Warrior I'll make a few points. I look at his races and he gets stronger at the end of them. And it looks like that 1,400 metres and mile races further down the track would suit him. But if he does win this, it wouldn't surprise me if he goes straight to stud. It's be another young up-and-coming horse we lose to stud. As you know, this day and age, Aidan, that happens a lot. But I look at him as a horse that is going to get further. And as people might know or do know, that a 1,200 metres down the straight is quite a hard task to achieve. And I think a horse that I believe can win at 1,400 a mile around a bend is going to benefit a 1,200 metre race down the straight because it's a hard 1,200. And he's going to sit sort of 5th, 6th, 7th in the run and look for him to be finishing off late and be hard to beat. Home Affairs, a horse that I did like in the Everest. If he's come back from that, because it was a breakneck speed race, and how much it's taken out of him being a young 3-year-old, I'm not sure, but the trainer's a master at bringing them for the grand final. I think he's in it. In the Congo, he proved the other day in Sydney in the Group 1 that he can absorb pressure. He was taken on for the first sort of 400 metres of the race. Then when he was allowed to sit in front, he kept running and kept going at the start, even though on that day, Aidan, they played on speed and on the fence, which Animo couldn't get him that day. And you look what Animo's gone on to do since. He's won a Caulfield Guineas and obviously a debatable second in a protest in the Cox Plate. So, and the Congo's in the mix as well. So for me, Cuz, those 3 horses are the ones that I'd be looking around.
I just want to get your thoughts on riding that straight as well, because I know it's important to get cover, but then you can get cluttered up, and then you've got to be wary about sort of being in open ground too much as well. So how do you play it as a jockey, riding down that chute, because it can't be easy. It must be one of the hardest tasks in riding.
It is. Generally, in an open class, Aidan, you'll find horses that have raced down the straight. So if you want to get a bit of cover, you try and follow those horses that have been down the straight and performed and that have won down the straight, because you know that they're going to take you a long way until you have to expose your mount. So that's the thing that I look at. But in these young 3-year-old races, Aidan, I apologise. I haven't looked through any horses that have raced down there yet, but a lot of horses that wouldn't have performed because they're younger horses, and they generally find the Coolmore as a grand final for their races. So for me, it's going to determine how the wind plays, because a headwind down the straight, you need cover. And also a lot of younger horses, 2 and 3-year-olds, their best friend is a running rail, Aidan, because they like a rail in training. They love a running rail to follow. But at this day and age, horses need to find the camber, which is about the middle of the track. You'll find a lot of horses now, unless it's a firm track, there's no wind, they'll go to the rail. But when it's like today, stormy, and the track could be off tomorrow, they sort of want to be 5, 6, 7 off the fence. So it's going to be very tactical, especially in a Coolmore.
Yeah, okay. The other race that we're really keen on getting your thoughts on tomorrow, the Cantala, obviously a $2 million stake and a really competitive 1,600 metre handicap.
Yeah, it sure is. Mr. Brightside, a horse from New Zealand who is got a picket line fence, and he seems to be going the right way, but this is his hardest task. He has never met this caliber horse before.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to, in my mind, Aidan, he's going to have to go up probably 2, maybe 3 levels. And I think he can do it. He's drawn to get the best run in the race from the barrier, but I don't think he can. I like a horse called Arameo, a horse that is ticking all the boxes, going the right way about it, drawing a good barrier, is going to get the best run. Chris Waller and Glenn Boss, when they combined, they perform. As you've seen, I think it was not last year, the year before. Yes. In the Everest, a 3-year-old with blinkers on coming through. Now has obviously gone to stud, but Glenn Boss and Chris Waller, I think, is, for me, the horse to beat. Quantum Mechanic, she's going to be at her peak for this. Charlotte, another horse that I like. The reason I like her, she performs first up. She won at Sandown first up when she couldn't. She was that far out of it. She could not win. And then all of a sudden, she appeared and won the race. She's had a long time between that run and now. They've kept it fresh. So that's the key to her winning. Cascadian was obviously good form, but if you put me on the spot, I'm going to have to say Arameo.
Okay, like that. And now let's go back into, obviously you're tipping out to us Tralee Rose as one, maybe is a long range one. That was before the Caulfield Cup, and we saw Incentivise just so dominant. You were right on the money with Tralee Rose in the Geelong Cup win. Who's your thoughts now for Tuesday?
After last year's Melbourne Cup, Aidan, I wanted to get on Tralee Rose. I had never ridden the horse, and I've never been thought about riding the horse, and I've never approached the owners or the trainers to ride her. And I always wanted to be on this horse because I just thought the Melbourne Cup suits this horse, and I still think that leading into Tuesday. But has Australian racing unearthed a freak?
Yeah.
If you ask me now, after the Caulfield Cup, yes. The thing about this horse, the distance isn't going to worry it, but the 2 pluses for me is Brett Preble is riding out of his skin. He's a man possessed. He's in really, really good form right now. And Peter Moody. I know myself when I used to ride for Peter Moody, no matter whether they were odds on pop or they were 100 to 1, they were a chance. So he's the most outstanding trainer, probably since I've been riding that I've ever seen it and ridden for. So I don't know. I've still got my doubts because carrying the weight. He's a horse. Is he at the end of his preparation, Aidan? He come through the winter in Brisbane, so he had the residual fitness to carry him through Melbourne. But now, when's he going to hit the wall? Is it Tuesday? I'm hoping not. For Brett Preble and Peter Moody, I'm hoping not. But I would like nothing more to see Tralee Rose to win for the underdogs, namely Dean Holland. I can guarantee the party would be rocking. And obviously the Wilds, they're really good trainers from Warrnambool. The horse would have been in the beach, no doubt, a lot between the Geelong Cup and Tuesday. And Joe McNeil is a jockey who I interviewed before the first on Saturday when I work. And obviously it's near the eve of when he won the Melbourne Cup. So I've run seconds, thirds, fourths, sixths, fifths in the Melbourne Cup. It takes a good ride to win it. Even though you look back, Makybe Diva, she was always superior, but she took 100 out of 10 ride from Glenn Boss every single time to win. You can have the good horse, but it always comes down to that ride. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to working throughout the carnival, Aidan. It's been tiring, but it's something that I've really, really enjoyed. And everyone back in New Zealand, hope I've put you onto some winners, and good luck with all your betting. And obviously, I miss everyone back home. But first and foremost, Case and Layla, miss you guys. With COVID, I haven't seen you for nearly 2 years now, so it's hectic. But please open the borders so I can get on the plane back to New Zealand. I've got a lot of people I need to catch up with when I come home. Chris Wood is trying to get me back to his place for a beer. Stephen McKee also trying to get me back to his. So there'll be a lot of people I need to see. Obviously, my mates back in Cambridge, Hadley Searle and Jason Waddell. And there's too many to mention. Troy Harris, Chad Ormsby. I've got to come back for a wedding next April, actually, for Chad Ormsby's wedding. So in Queenstown, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, we want the borders open so you can get here. Great to have you again, Michael. We've got that great connection with you, and we'll look forward to your coverage coming through Melbourne.
How did I all?
Get you back to Melbourne and we'll grab racing.com's Ben Scarry to talk us through some of those Group 1 features out of Derby. What a day of racing, Ben. This is what gets us going, eh?
Yeah, I'm a pretty cynical guy at the best of times, and I don't get up and about for too much. But this is the one day of the year. It's like Christmas for me. It's Punter's Christmas, and it does not get any better. And what an outstanding day we've got ahead of us, particularly races like the Empire Rose, Derby, Cantala, and the best of them all, the Coolmore Stud Stakes. What fields we've got ahead of us.
Okay, let's get tips on each of those for us, Ben. Let's start with the Empire Rose. Who are you liking here?
Yeah, I think there's two key chances the market's identified in Tefane and Mystic Journey. I just wonder, Tefane, I know she was outstanding in a Toorak with a big weight, but, it's the end of a long preparation. There's a few horses that have been flat coming out of that Toorak, whereas Mystic Journey, on the other hand, I think she is set to peak. I don't know if she's going to ever be the horse she was as a 3-year-old, but she looks like she's back to something like her best, and I think she is ready third up to 1,600 metres to produce a peak performance. You're getting nearly double the price as well. So at the price, I'm going to go with Mystic Journey to bounce back to something like her best. Perhaps sit on the back of Tefane and go past her late. I would have loved a wider draw, but we can't have everything perfect. And I'm going to go with Mystic Journey at the price in the Empire Rose.
I do want to put you on the spot a little bit. Hopefully you're okay with this. Emeralina, your thoughts there?
I think she can run an improved race. There were obvious excuses last time out. I don't know if they rode her ideally to suit her, and I like her at 1,600 at Flemington. This is a hot Empire Rose. Wouldn't shock, actually. There's, outside, I think it's either one of the top two in the betting, or you can make a case for 10 of them, and she is right among those that you can certainly make a case for. Wouldn't be it's the one of the 4 Group 1s that it wouldn't really shock at all if there was an upset, and she could fit that bill.
Okay, it sounds like you're going to be able to point us towards winners in the other 3. Victoria Derby, who do you like?
Yeah, I'm pretty keen on Forgot You here for the Buston Young stable. His run in the Caulfield Guineas was outstanding. His 3 runs at Moonee Valley have all been very good. He hits a huge flat spot and it's just so strong late. I think he's the best horse in the race. I think he's the one that's going to relish getting to 2,500 metres at Flemington. He's had a pretty tough preparation, but he seems to be a horse that just cops it and hits the line every time. He's run the fastest last 200 of the race in every start this preparation, bar the Caulfield Guineas. Only Artorias was faster than him there. I've just been waiting for this horse to get to Flemington, so I'm keen on him. I'm making him the best of the day. There's that little query. He's had a long prep. Is it going to be a bit too much? But it's not like we're getting a short price to find out. Better than $4, I think, is more than fair gamble about him.
Okay, I'm going to the other end of the spectrum for the 3-year-olds and the Coolmore Stud Stakes. Wow, what a race in front of us here.
It is outstanding. Most of the form ties in. So I want to back 2 horses in this race. So all the form through In the Congo, Home Affairs, Palele, Artorias, it all ties in. So I'm going to back the horse with the completely different form on the up in Extreme Warrior, who was just so good winning the Blue Sapphire, gapped Profiteer, and he gapped the rest of them, ran good time. So set to peak third up with a different form. I think Extreme Warrior is one of the 2 horses I want to be on. The other is Artorias. Now, I just think getting down the straight, he's not going to be as far off them. His run was outstanding in the Golden Rose, very good in Caulfield Guineas, one of the fastest Guineas of all time. And his biggest win to date came over 1,200 metres. I think the key to him will just be getting back down the straight, where he doesn't have to be as far off them as like around a bend. And then hopefully, like a bit of a Merchant Navy type effort, he's charging at them late. And I think it's better than $8. It's a more than fair price, given the starting prices he has been in his last couple. So Artorias and Extreme Warrior are the 2 for me in a Coolmore.
Okay, and the other race we're really keen on getting your thoughts on is that Cantala handicap race. And, wow, there's a bit of depth to this as well.
is an outstanding race. There's one horse in particular I've been waiting for a long, long time to get to Flemington over 1,600 metres at Superstorm. We saw him as a 3-year-old run really well at Flemington 1,600 behind Alligator Blood and the Guineas. He's only been to Flemington on one occasion since that run. It was at last year's Spring Carnival in a Turnbull Stakes where he was third up off a 1,400 metre run. So I don't think we'll judge him too much on that. He was terrific in a Toorak, hitting the line strongly late. I've just been waiting for him to get to Flemington. We're getting double figures to find out. I'm really surprised about that. So Superstorm, and I think we probably can have something on Arameo. Bossy gets on. He can settle a little closer. He's down in the waist. He was very good up in Sydney and Epsom. So Superstorm and Arameo, the two for me in what is a terrific edition of the Cantala.
Great stuff. Really appreciate you taking us through those 4 Group 1s. Before we let you go, I know we're a few days out at this stage, but who's your Melbourne Cup tip, Ben?
Yeah, I just cannot go past the favourite. I think he's clearly the best horse. I don't think 3,200 is going to pull up Incentivised. So we'll go with Incentivised. He looks the one. I think he's deserving as a short price favourite for this year's Melbourne Cup.
Okay, really appreciate your time. Enjoy your week as well. I know it's one of the biggies for anyone associated, and of course you get the box seat as well as part of the coverage.
Yeah, it's certainly a big week, but it's what we do it for, so we're very much looking forward to it. Good luck, guys.
Big show on the form today, wasn't it? And our thanks to all the guests who have come on and provided us with insight into their look at the weekend as well. Let's now check out the best bets.
Forget about the stoplight, no time for second place. Pedal to the metal, it's the thrill of the chase. I'll find a way to win the race.
And good luck if you're following those tipsters in through today's racing. What a day in front of us. Settle in front of trackside, grab a beer, and let's get punting.